you.
I've been fascinated with cars, motorcycles, boats, anything with a motor or wheels since I can remember. I started racing in high school. I would take my parents' car and go enter it in an autocross. Then I was introduced to boat racing. We went on to race offshore power boats and win the world championships in Key West for a couple of years. I don't know how I heard about Pikes Peak. I think it was on the radio, but as soon as I heard about that race, I wanted to get in it. Spencer Penrose built Pikes Peak Road by himself for $250,000, which might be $20 million now. Dynamited that road and hired 100 people, and they created that road to the top of one of the most majestic mountains in the world. Then he thought, let's have a car race to the top of this. So it was the biggest challenge for even one of those cars to make it up there. And now it's paved. We have the best cars in the world, and it's still difficult to get to the top. I submitted my application. I bought a legit car that had run Pikes Peak before, practiced a lot. I raced races like Daytona. And so when I applied the next year, they felt I was qualified enough to let me in. I wasn't qualified enough, come to find out. And on race day, it started raining hard. I was on some tires that I'd never driven in the rain. I went off on a very common corner that a lot of people wreck at, and I went off it big. I hit it so fast that I cleared a little ditch and valley and went straight into some big trees and destroyed the car again. So that was my experience last year. We're gonna keep coming back till we're successful and getting to the top with a decent time. I think you've got to show American grit. You've got to show grit, perseverance. I've crashed it twice and rebuilt it twice. And so this year it's dialed in and ready to make it to the top. This year I'm racing a 2010 Mazda Speed 3. It was one of 13 built from the factory as a race car for the Mazda race team. My car fits into the Time Attack 1 class. That means your car had to have at one point been a production-based car. But after that, you can do anything to it. You can do any suspension modifications, engine modifications. That leaves teams like the Porsche teams to be able to put a couple $1 million into a car versus our low budget team. So I'm not racing the other cars because I need a $2 million Porsche to do that, but I'm racing myself to drive well and to achieve our goal of making it to the top and to make it under 12 minutes. I'm trying to show my kids through example and not just telling them what to do, how to really live life and not be afraid. And if you really want to do something, I really wanted to race Pikes Peak. There was many times I could have quit this for every reason in the book, and I want to show them that I didn't quit. And if I don't make it up this year, then I'm going to keep going until I do make it. I want to just lead by example. American grit, I mean, they understand, and in simple terms, just don't give up. When you get to the top, obviously, when you go off, you don't hit trees, you go off and you can fall 4,000 feet. There's a joke that you'll be hungry before you hit the ground if you go off on some of these places. There's 3 corners on the top that are blind, and there's been some memory devices and memory practices you use. That the first corner you wait for a visual cue to turn in. You're going 100 miles an hour right into blue sky, and you have to watch for this one little mountain in the background and know to turn in at that point. If you don't turn in at that point, you go off. There's numerous places across the top that type of exposure is in your head. So you say, okay, can I hold my foot down and keep the speed up, or do I just lift a little bit and take it easy? I don't know what I'll do tomorrow. I'm obsessed with this, with getting to the top, because I started it 2 years ago and I haven't achieved it yet. So now I can see it. I've watched all the videos of everyone making it to the top. I've practiced for a month up here going to the top. So now I just have to put it together all into one run.